Hello, I'm Loki Legionson, and I'm here to explain the sacred doctrine of Loki. What is Lokeanism? Lokeanism is the study, belief, and practice in the word and truth of the god of chaos, Loki. Lokeanism is the unconventional Luciferian approach to understanding karmic dualism, the polarities of duality, and the nature of dualistic causality. It is a triune system of causality, which combines the essential aspects of mind, body, and spirit. Many people think that they are thinking when they are really reconfiguring their own personal preferences. Thinking is the cognitive activity involved in making sense of the world around us. Critical thinking can be defined as thinking about and evaluating thoughts, feelings, and behavior so that we can clarify and improve them. We must strive to value truth above self-interest. We must hold ourselves and those we agree with to the same intellectual standards to which we hold our own opponents. This is one of the most difficult components to employ on a regular basis. We all have the selfish tendency to cater to our own egocentric needs or wants and to ignore information that conflicts with our own desires, which include hungering, thirsting, craving, lusting, and satisfying the physical or intellectual sensory perception. We must strive to recognize that even when it appears otherwise, the truth is always in our self-interest, no matter how much it agrees or disagrees with the way we prefer to see it. Accepting change. We must remain open to the need for adjustment and adaptation throughout the life cycle. Resisting change is one of the most common characteristics that all humans share. We must strive to fully trust the process of reasoned inquiry. We must be willing to use these skills to examine even our most deeply held values and beliefs, and to modify these beliefs whence evidence and experience contradict them. Empathizing with others. We must appreciate and strive to understand others' thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and to notice certain possible similarities within these thoughts, feelings, and actions that we ourselves also reflect. We must utilize that reflection to consider the perspectives of others, to empathize with them, and because we ourselves have experienced certain conditions and situations, we can thence understand what another is experiencing firsthand. Do not confuse this with egocentrism, where the individual views everyone and everything in direct relation to themselves and thinks that everyone should think the way they do. Welcoming divergent views. We must value and appreciate examining issues from every angle and know that it is especially important to explore and understand positions with which we disagree. This is valuable when decision-making. Welcoming divergent views would effectively inoculate the decision-making process from faulty decision-making that occurs when a highly cohesive group strives for agreement and avoids inconsistent information. Tolerating ambiguity. Formal education trains and programs us to search for the final right answer, convergent thinking, or sheep herding. We must recognize that many questions and issues are complex with multiple and often contradicting and competing opinions and answers, which recognize probable, highly likely, or not very likely. We must consider the creativity of the artist who is willing to deal with uncertainty and to consider many possible solutions and combinations along the way. Divergent thinking. Recognizing personal biases. This involves using our highest intellectual skills to detect personal biases and self-deceptive reasoning so that we can design realistic plans for self-correction. Being an effective critical thinker doesn't mean the total absence of bias, but rather the willingness and acceptance of self to admit, recognize, and correct biasness. Delaying judgment until adequate and relative data becomes available. We mustn't make snap judgments. Impulsivity is one of the surest and hardest obstacles to premium critical thinking. Rash judgments about others can be costly mistakes that we regret for many years. Unfortunately, most of us suffer this because we are taught to be rash thinkers. Employing precise terms. Precise terms help us identify issues clearly and concretely so that we can be objectively defined and empirically tested. In everyday situations, when two people argue about an issue, they are often defining the same subject differently without even knowing it. The same goes for different languages that speak in different tongues and dialects about the same thing, or diverse religions that all say the same thing. The only thing that changes is names and exact situations. Therefore, open and direct communication that explores and identifies the precise shades in the vast spectrum of meaning is an important key to successful interactions and relationships. Words are, at times, interchangeable. Be sure that you are understood. Gathering data. Collecting up-to-date, relevant information on all sides of an issue is a priority before making complete decisions. Too often, many of us collect information that confirms a one-sided or biased point of view. Sometimes researchers unintentionally skew a study in the direction of a desired outcome by only collecting data that will support it. When this happens, we don't always see eye to eye. Distinguishing fact from opinion. Facts are statements that can obviously be proven true. Opinions are statements that express how a person feels about an issue or what someone thinks is true. It is quite easy to have an uninformed opinion about any subject. Always be sure to seek out facts before forming opinions. We must learn to tell the difference between the true and popular opinions we learned from our parents, society, school, and church. Encouraging critical dialogue. Critical thinkers are active questioners who challenge existing facts and opinions and welcome questions in return. Socratic questioning is an important type of critical dialogue in which the questioner deeply probes the meaning, justification, or logical strength of a claim, position, or line of reasoning. Therefore, before we come to any final conclusion on any idea, thought, or feeling, we must first examine it within ourselves. Does this hold true to thyself? Or is it something that you've been misproperly guided through? Has it been something that you've felt was right? Or is it something that you know is right? Or is it something that you think is right? These all contradict themselves in many ways. But be not afraid when you step into the path of thy own understanding, for ye will know the truth within your own heart. And it doesn't matter what anybody has told us to be true, and it doesn't matter what anybody says is true. We will know. That's one of the hardest things for us to face, is to step outside of our own skin and express our own truth. For we always have this fear that others will judge us at any turn. And we always have this fear that we will be misunderstood. For if I tell you how I feel, what I think, and what I believe, and you disregard that as an untruth, then that shames me, because that's all I have to give. And all I have to give is love. So, why would we share ourselves with those who are not worthy and appreciative of our cause? Step out of your skin and be who you are today.